on a billboard in Dubai just over a year is so impressive. Can you introduce yourself?
With stunning views to use this. What a beautiful view and upgraded.
I am born and raised in Slovakia, but I spent over 15 years living in Australia. I was an ex-swimmer. I was competing, swimming, kids, adults. One of my clients, I used to train her. She was the one like, I want you to work for me. This is where my journey for real estate really started. Dubai is progressive. We pay a lot of taxes in Australia. At the end of the day, here you're keeping 100% of what you earn. The potential here is really limitless.
How did you end up choosing this master?
Having an established CRM system, but also having top performing agents within the company. That was a good decision.
Can you tell us about your first deal? Welcome back to the First Deal Files, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Barbora Marcinkova, whose face is currently on one of the biggest billboards in Dubai. She's just been promoted and she's done all this in just over a year. Barbora, being on a billboard in Dubai just over a year is so impressive. So can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so my name is Barbora. I am born and raised in Slovakia, but I spent over 15 years living in Australia, in Sydney, where I've done real estate. My background comes from being a swimmer, so being an ex-athlete. So always been there in my bones and in my blood to like try to be the best and compete.
Yeah.
So that comes very, very naturally to me. So I think real estate has been made for me.
We talked just before we started filming and you moved just last October. So literally just a few weeks over the year.
Yeah.
And you moved. So you were established real estate agent in Sydney. What prompted the move to Dubai?
Well, to be completely honest, my family is in Slovakia. So I wanted to be closer to them, but also the tax benefits.
And I suppose you already had sunshine in Sydney.
Of course,
yes.
Yeah.
So you already had the good weather. So you came to be close to family, okay?
Close to family. I mean, you know, you get into that point in your life where it's like where you think about what's important.
Yeah.
And being close, like jumping on a plane, 6 hours, I can see my mom, everyone. I think that's the most important part in my life at the moment.
Did you have any preconceived ideas about Dubai before you moved here? And were they true or were they not true?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching the real estate market here. I've been coming to Dubai for a while. And I think the main thing I see is it's such a progressive country. And I saw that if I compare it to Sydney market, which was really established market, Dubai has such a long way to go. And I thought it's like, okay, this is a great chance for someone who, you know, who was lucky enough to work in such a great market to come here and use my experience to hopefully build a new home for myself.
How long did it take when you decided in Sydney, okay, I'm going to make the move until you actually got on that flight?
I think it was a space of 6 months.
Okay.
I've been thinking of moving for quite a while, but we had a COVID, we had this and that.
Yep.
So, but I think I made the decision around early 2024, got on LinkedIn, found myself a recruiter, and I think I accepted a job like a few months later and I was here.
Okay. I went from there.
Yeah.
We know, and we were just talking about it as well, there is so many agencies in Dubai. How did you end up choosing us and how did you find out about us?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I had a recruiter and then they put me in touch with a number of different agencies across Dubai, right? And Espas was one of them. And I guess the main draw towards Espas was that not only it's been in the market for a while, but it seems to be the closest thing to what I've known. Okay. Having an established CRM system, having established agents, covering, you know, a lot of Dubai, but also having top performing agents within the company. And I think that was the biggest draw because you want to be part of a team where there is people better than you, making sure that I can better myself as well.
What were the biggest challenges when you moved in?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there have been, right?
There always is.
There is always is. I think I came from a very spoiled market as well, right? So we basic things like doing contracts here. This is always done by someone for us. Where over here, the agents have to understand the ABCs of that, right?
Okay.
Doing Form F. We always had lawyers doing that for us. So for me, it was the new lingo about everything, right?
Yeah.
But it's very simple. But it's first time it was for me, it's like, okay, I have to do that.
Yeah, you have to do it now. Okay.
I want to make sure, you know, I didn't want to mess up something. But I think those were the little first challenges to understand that.
Yeah.
And obviously learning the new communities, learning how it works here, how people talk, how sellers talk here, because it's different.
Did you have to adapt your style and your approach?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, there's so many cultures.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing. So the language comes in, and even myself, like that's my second language, so I can understand that.
Yeah.
But it can be challenging to understand different mentality, how to speak to different people and different approach, because my approach might not work for everyone.
Yeah.
So it was definitely adjusting that.
Can you tell us about your first deal? And I know we have some people on the show and they've just done their first deal 3 weeks ago. You've
Yeah.
obviously, as we said, completed your year. You have your face on a billboard for a reason because you're already an established broker in
Yeah.
Dubai. But bring us back to the first deal.
So my first deal was actually 2 months on a dot from the day I joined.
Okay, so
No,
you
I'll never
joined on the
forget.
7th of October.
7th of October, 7th of December
Okay.
was my first deal.
Yeah.
It was actually my favorite building on the Palm, and I even live in that building now. So I'm like, this is where I want to be.
I
And it
love
was my
it.
first deal in that building. And I guess from that point, it was like it gives you that boost of confidence. I'm like, okay, I didn't do a mistake moving here. I can do this. So
Yeah, absolutely. What was the feeling? Like, I know everything that goes into the group chat. Everyone
Yeah.
knows about it in the business.
it was that feeling of relief. Like,
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
2 months in, your country, and I came from a place where I was comfortable. I had my
Yeah.
friends, everything.
Yeah.
And I put myself into a situation again, 15
Yeah.
years later, going like, okay, can I do this? Like,
Yeah.
and
I know.
and that first deal is really just
Reassures the decision.
reassures us like, yeah, okay,
It was the
that
right
was a good
decision.
decision.
Yeah. In those 2 months, did you have any doubt about what the move?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I mean, I always say doubt is like one of those things that you don't want to have that.
Yeah.
You can have questions around, but I never doubt myself, because I believe that, you put in the hours, you put in the work and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
something will stick.
Yeah. So you had the belief, I know, that you
Yeah.
could do it.
100%.
I suppose we have so many new joiners come into this business. They're, fresh off the boat. Some of them have no real estate experience. You had experience. What would you say to them? Because you do have, 15 years behind you. What would you say to them coming in?
First thing is having discipline.
Yeah.
Stick to someone, find someone within the company, within the team that you can learn from.
Okay.
Put in the hours. Forget about the partying. Forget about all the fun stuff that Dubai has, because it does have a lot.
Yeah.
Put your head down. The first 6 to 12 months is where you can build your next 10 years. And discipline is the number one thing, I think, in real estate, especially when you're new.
Yeah.
Even with myself, experience, fantastic. But
Yeah.
I still was new. I
Yeah.
didn't know anyone here. So
Yeah.
it's the same ABCs, I think.
So it's just, doing the basics right
The
and
basics.
discipline. Do you think you mentioned when we started that you competed professionally for swimming
Yes.
in the past?
Yeah.
Do you think what you learned from that has made you probably succeed in your career in Australia, but now here as well?
I believe so. I mean,
Yeah.
I started so young. I trained, we train at 5 a.m. every morning. It was a 7-day-a-week job, and no one could have jumped in a pool for me. It was an individual sport. So it's not like someone
Yeah.
else could have done
Yeah.
it for me, or you had
So
someone
true.
thing.
Yeah.
But it definitely taught me the discipline.
Yeah.
It taught me that, okay, you have to put this hours and time
Yeah.
into becoming something. And
Yeah.
nothing happens overnight. Sometimes
true.
some people, have some lucky few deals here and there, but the longevity of this job is that you need to, no matter how good you are, no matter how many deals you have done, you still have to stick to the basic.
And I suppose that brings me nicely on to my next question. What do you think people misunderstand about working in Dubai real estate?
Oh, they just think it's like, falling from the sky. I don't know. I don't know if they think we have palm trees of dirhams here and it's just gonna fall into,
Yeah.
It's, I think, the perception here, because there's social media, right?
It is, yeah.
I
People
grew up
watch
without
those.
social media. So I never had a perception of certain countries unless we read a book about it or watch it on Discovery Channel, right?
Yeah.
But now you have social media of all these agents and things making these millions of dirhams, right?
Yeah.
But no one seems to be telling about how they got there.
Yeah.
And I think people see that and forget, okay, hey, there's a really long way to get there.
Yeah.
So they come over here and then they get disappointed within, first 2-3 months, that I was like, hang on, this is not it.
Yeah.
You guys didn't tell me that.
And that's a great point to make, because people do come over and they think it can happen like that.
Yeah.
Whereas we know that's far from the reality.
Far from the reality.
One thing I want to know is, how does the commission structure differ between Australia and Dubai? And I suppose just financially, do you find this more rewarding?
When you look at it, we pay a lot of taxes in Australia.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, here you're keeping 100% of what you earn. So your potential is unlimited. The commission structure, I think, around the world is very much the same. But Tax is the biggest benefit
Yeah.
we have here.
Was there a moment you felt you made it?
You know what? I mean, you can say yes, but also I'm like, I don't think I've made it yet
Okay. Yeah.
because it is just a beginning for me. I think I made it on that first scale. It's
Yeah.
like fantastic. My first year, I did really well.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
But I think this is just the beginning. So yeah.
Getting on the billboard, was that a
Yeah.
moment that you
Oh,
thought?
no, that was a huge win.
Yeah,
I mean,
you thought, okay.
yeah, I was like when I saw, I think it was early in the year, we had some of my colleagues on it. I was like, I want to do that.
Okay.
I want to
Yeah.
be there. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was incredible.
And I suppose for those people watching, do you want to explain a bit about the True Broker and what criteria gets you there and what you have to do?
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot involved, but it's being persistent in your property. So always getting them true checked.
Yeah.
Obviously getting inquiries, making sure you're doing your reports, boosting your listing. So a lot of things comes back to a spouse that obviously supporting us as an agent when we're doing really well. We get plenty of credits to go and boost our properties when we have fantastic listings.
Yeah.
But it's just being consistent with your true checking and
Did Dubai live up to your expectations?
I think so.
Both professionally and personally, I suppose. I know we've had a talk off camera, just waking up. You live on the palm in the sunshine with your dog.
Exactly. So personally, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it's been a dream to be close to my family. So I think that was ticked straight away, right?
Yeah.
Professionally, absolutely. I think I am happy with my move. I am, I'm glad where I am.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking forward to what's to come.
Barbara, you had a 15-year established career in Sydney, working in the prime Sydney market. What did your colleagues think when you told them you were moving to Dubai? And you were already like probably quite comfortable, earning really well.
Yeah.
And then you're making this massive move to Dubai.
Yeah, well, they thought I'm mad.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah,
Like,
you don't need to do that.
you
Why
don't
are you
need to
doing
do
it?
that. So there was a lot of like mixed messages from everyone.
Yeah.
Some people are really happy for you, but I think is they were also like, why would you do that? Like, why would you put yourself into this uncomfortable position? For me, it was just like, I just feel like that there's something missing. I'm like, I'm not done. Like, I'm still young. I can do this. I can create something different for myself. But in Dubai, I've always wanted to be in Dubai. Australia was a 2-3 year plan.
Okay.
It was never,
Yeah.
this is it. I went there to learn English.
Yeah.
So I think I speak well English now. So maybe it's time.
Okay.
Time to leave, 15 years of English lessons.
Did you start in real estate when you straight went out there?
No, I was actually in, because obviously I was an ex-swimmer. So I went into sort of
Oh, okay.
that department. So I was
Yeah.
cooking, swimming, kids,
Okay.
adults, all of that.
Amazing. And then you went into real estate.
Well, actually, one of my clients, I used to train her. She was the one, like, I want you to work for me.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
honestly, I love her. She was like my second mom over there.
Yeah. Kind of like a
Um,
mentor.
Absolutely. And I think this is where my journey for real estate really started. So it wasn't money driven. It wasn't driven by the wrong, I say, things that people come into do real estate for.
Yeah.
For me was I got to fall in love with what I do.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was never a job. It's like, oh my God, I'm out of high school. I want to be a real estate. No idea. It was never on my radar. I always thought like I would be involved in sports industry because that's all I knew. And I met her.
Yeah.
She changed my life. I've obviously worked for her for many, many years, and I got to learn a lot. And now I'm using it to be here.
Amazing.
They were shocked when I left, but they always knew that there's something else for me.
Is there anything drastically different about both markets?
Dubai is progressive. Sydney is established, right?
Yeah.
But I love that Dubai can be that. I think that's what sticks out for me is the most, that the potential here is really limitless, and it has everything and more. Like over here, a life is a very different thing. It's it's incredible.
What do you think you do every day that makes you successful? Is there do you have any habits? You don't have to tell us all your secrets.
The habits, honestly, I try to stick to my basic ABCs. I follow up my clients that I work with. Properties I'm selling with, obviously going through our database, see what else we have there, keeping up to date with what's going on in the market. And have plenty of coffee and cuddles with my puppy. That keeps me sane.
I love
But
it.
you know what? This job always it can take so much of your soul, right? Because it's
Yeah.
draining. And I
Yeah.
think surrounding yourself with people that
Yeah.
you can have a laugh, you can have a
Yeah.
good time, because to break off your day,
Yeah.
you get told off so many times, you've been told no many times.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can really bring you down. So I think like
Yeah.
when you're surrounded by colleagues and people that you can have a just 10 minutes a joke about
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
it changes the perspective. So it's all about that. It's like if I'm
Yeah.
in a bad mood, I
Yeah.
want to make sure I'm not jumping on a call,
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
will just transfer that energy. So
Yeah.
I try to change it out. Like if I have a bad day or something, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
what can I do else
Yeah. Yeah.
to avoid to like get
Yeah.
out of your system?
So many people in Dubai and in a spa. So we all moved here as an expat, right? So did you know anyone before you moved?
No,
No. You knew no one in Dubai when you
no,
moved. And have you made friends in a spas?
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you think that culture, I know you've already probably touched on it now, but that culture of having people, like-minded people that are also driven, but also understand that it's hard,
Yeah.
helps you succeed.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
because we're all in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
We all left our comfort of our home and
Yeah.
families and everything,
Yeah.
and come to this place that can really absorb you, right?
Yeah.
It can take so much away from you.
Yeah.
Because it is hard. People forget this job is extremely, extremely hard on mental health.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't think I've been said no so many times
Yeah.
in my life
Yeah.
as you get told in this job, right?
Yeah.
So I swear to God, like,
Yeah.
and I just take it with a smile now. I'm like, okay,
Okay.
rejection, great, give it
You've
to me,
learned. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
no
Yeah. Yeah.
problem, I'll take it. Let me
Okay.
change your mind, right? But
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
people around yourself that you
Yeah.
can obviously when you have a bad day, as I said,
Yeah.
having someone that you can talk to,
Yeah.
you can lift up your mood, and basic thing like going for a walk with a friend. It's so
Yeah.
important.
It
Just
is.
getting fresh air when we get a fresh air here.
Yeah.
So
The weather's better now.
the
Yeah.
weather's fantastic now.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In the office, who do you admire the most?
Who do I admire the most? Oh my God.
Maybe you don't have to pick one person. If you want to pick a few, or no, try to pick one.
Huh. That's hard.
Yeah.
It's like pick your favorite color. Actually, no, I have that pink, right? I mean, that's not the hard one. I mean, it depends, like in what way, right?
Work ethic. I
Goodness
suppose.
me, I feel like majority of these guys have
Yeah.
amazing work ethic. I think it would be
Yeah.
impossible to pick one. Like, look at our directors, like majority of them, no matter how much they have earned, they here.
Yeah.
They pick up their phones when you need something. They're there to advise you if you need.
Yeah.
I don't think I can pick one. I
Okay.
think I would be really unfair.
Okay. Okay.
But obviously my manager, Alan, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
We butt our heads often. I challenge him, but I think he got used to the Eastern Europe here now. He's keep hiring more. So I'm like, maybe he likes
Yeah.
us. But no, I
love
think
it.
there's so many
Yeah.
great people. And
Okay.
as I say, the culture is great.
And I suppose just on the culture, we know the Dubai market. We've mentioned there's so many real estate agencies. I'm sure you get called all the time to move and headhunted. Why do you stay to Spas?
I found my home. I find that, every company has some sort of challenges, right? But I think it's in as past is that it's progressing and they keep
Yeah.
trying to improve and do new things.
Yeah.
They've obviously, I'm new here.
Yeah.
1 year is nothing, right? Because there's people that have been here for so long. But they don't look at the time I've been here. They try to help. They try to help me grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing, because I want to be in a place where I can grow as who I am in my
Yeah.
career.
What's the next thing for Barbara?
Oh, I don't know. What else? I mean, I've been on a billboard.
Yeah.
I mean, where do I go after that?
Where do you go after the billboard? I know.
I mean, where else can we put my face?
Well, you just got promoted.
I got promoted. I mean, obviously the next promotion.
The next promotion, is on.
Absolutely.
Is next on the horizon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then obviously see where else we can put my face on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there floating boat or something in Dubai? Like you see those screens like
The
movie.
Burj Khalifa.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I would love to have, but I mean, like, I gotta go back to the earth. But you never
Okay.
know, right?
You never know.
Say never.
You never say never. Never say never. And I think we will leave it at that, Barbara.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining us. And it's only been a year and you're already on a billboard. So I can't wait to see the rest of your journey.
Let's see you next year.
Thank you so much for joining us and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.